looks like it's time for a Halloween episode. Hey guys, Bobby here for the GM table, and yeah, like I said, it's a Halloween episode. But before we get into our reviews of games to run on Halloween, I want to talk about something that's happening in 2 days from this video's premiere. This video premieres on Monday, October 28th. On Wednesday, October 30th, on our Twitch stream, I'm going to put a link in down below, we are having the finale to our first season of Friends with Bennies. Now, it's not just, ooh, it's a finale, check it out, the show's been so awesome. More importantly, we kind of blew our financial goals out of the water with audience interaction and tips and donations and all that, to the point where we wanted our finale to do something special. So instead of doing the normal tip to help the channel and all that stuff, we're doing a charity stream. Now, if you haven't been following Friends with Bennies, our big finale is a wedding. It is a big gay fantasy wedding with our half-elf player Kellum marrying his true love, Dad Bod Dave, the dwarf. It's been built up. Yes, it is silly. Yes, it is weird. But because of that, we are using this finale and this wedding episode to support the Trevor Project. If you want to help support that, if you want to come in, show some support for the channel, so show support for the things the Trevor Project does, drop by. It's going to basically start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, October 30th. We also have some special guests that are going to be dropping by. And if we're still in the RP mode, they're going to be popping in and playing characters who are showing up and being involved in the wedding. Once we get past the wedding, we're going to keep streaming. And we're going to be hanging out. We're going to talk about the channel, talk about ourselves, interact even more with chat since we won't have to be gaming. And then any special guests that drop by get to just hang out. And we'll have all kinds of people. There are a lot of people who are trying to make it. Because there was a convention in Tombstone this weekend, I don't want to confirm people who are trying very hard to make it, but several of those people were at Tombstone. Anyways, with that, okay, so like I said, it's a Halloween episode. I wanted to get that announcement out of the way, but for Halloween, I was going to do a whole month of spooky. If my voice sounds weird, it's because I lost my voice. I got super sick this year. In fact, there might be a slight hum in the background. That's not even the AC, that's a humidifier, because I'm still sick. So if the audio's kind of off, I apologize. But instead of doing all of that, instead of doing weekly Halloween reviews and stuff, we're just doing a review roundup, which is I'm going to grab 3 books. I'm going to review them all. I'm going to mention another one and explain why it's not in the roundup. So the first one, I don't even want to say it's the most relevant because it's not even the newest book in our lineup now, but it's probably the one that's had the most publicity. Baldur's Gate: Descent into Avernus. Look, I've been meaning to do a review of this anyways. It takes place in hell. It's perfect for the Halloween episode. And I've read through it. I've run a good chunk of it. There are things I like about it, things I dislike about it. Here's the deal. I was hoping for something closer to like Curse of Strahd. We have a location, kind of open worldy. That's what they claimed it was going to be. We got something closer to Against the Giants, which it's open world kind of. Look, the fact is, this book you can break down to like thirds, and the first third of this adventure kind of stinks. The setup for the adventure is basically force the players into doing this. Don't just start them as part of it. Start them thinking they don't have to be part of it, but then railroad them into it, and if they disagree with it, if they go against it, kill them, is what it says in the book, when you could have just said, alright, you're all just part of this group already. Needless. All the Baldur's Gate stuff, I love Baldur's Gate as a location. There's a gazetteer for Baldur's Gate in this, just like with Dragon Heist. I was also hoping this would be kind of similar to Dragon Heist. I'll say that the gazetteer isn't as good as the one for Waterdeep, but still pretty good. I would still use that for when I want to do stuff in Baldur's Gate. But the adventures that happen in Baldur's Gate, kind of meaningless to the overall campaign. That whole first third is about getting the players into hell, but even then at the end of it, it's, well, why should we be the ones to go to hell? Well, because we need you to be the ones to go to hell. That's bad. That's a bad reason. There's no internal reasons to get the players to want to go other than, well, this is bad and we're the players, so we should help. If you just started them at level 5, started them in hell, if they were in the city that got drugged to hell instead, boom, much cleaner adventure, much better adventure. But then you wouldn't have Baldur's Gate, which, A, Baldur's Gate's awesome, and B, it wouldn't tie to the upcoming Baldur's Gate video game. But yeah, the hell stuff in this, really cool. The toolkit stuff in this, pretty useful. I love the hellish war machines, the soul tokens, all of that stuff. There's some really, really cool NPCs, but the actual campaign, not great. And the first third of it is the weakest, and you could just cut it out. Alright, now we got our obligatory D&D 5th edition review out of the way. Let's talk about Savage Worlds, because Savage Worlds is my favorite. And honestly, let's get some honorable mentions out of the way. A ton of Pinnacle's first-party Savage Worlds settings are great for Halloween. Deadlands is horror westerns. Rippers is Victorian horror. ETU is modern horror. The list goes on. Savage Worlds just has so many great horror-flavored games for all the different kinds of horror you could do. Just check them out. But I can't cover all of those in one video. The video would take forever. So instead, I'm going to cover the newest thing out by Pinnacle. Technically, I could cover both, but that one's about being in the Amazon, while it's Rippers. It's not super horror. This, however, is ETU. Yeah, we got a new ETU book. We got these paperback, big, fat, floppy books. That's because Pinnacle is now putting out books monthly. And they're not bad. This, after shipping, was about $20. When you figure it's a physical copy of the book, plus the PDF, plus that covered shipping, which was about $5 of it, it's not bad. I do have to open, similar to with the Avernus stuff, with something negative. And I hate that because I didn't think I would ever say something negative about an ETU product. But I need to get it out of the way because it's kind of this big fat asterisk on any recommendation I can do for it. This book is being marketed as a way to add a bunch of new enemy or monsters to your East Texas University game. It's not. It is not a bestiary. It has new monsters. It has 5 monsters. They're all really cool, really interesting in their own ways, and I love all of them. But that's not a bestiary. There is also a bunch of Savage Tales, and basically this is broken up into, I don't want to say chapters because the book's so short, but sections, and each section begins with the monster, one new monster, and then Savage Tales based on the monster. When ETU first came out, they had creature features. The Brujah creature feature, I think, is one of the best books they ever put out because it's a bunch of different Brujahs and then a bunch of different adventures at different years in ETU to bring in Brujahs. They did a similar one with Skunk Ape. I don't think it was quite as good. I mean, you couldn't do as much with Skunk Apes as you could with Brujahs, but it was the same concept. You got Skunk Ape info, and then you got adventures featuring Skunk Apes. This is 4 creature features plus an extra monster that doesn't have an adventure. There's one monster that doesn't have any Savage Tales, sadly, but it's still cool. And there's still cool stuff in here. Lots of great lore, lots of great things. I have used one of these adventures already. I've read them all. Used one. I was going to use a second, but my players went off track, so I have another one in the wings with its sequel, because I will say, if you are running a Savage Worlds Halloween game and you need something last minute, pick up this book. Look at the Metzinger dolls. They are super creepy. Both of their adventures are really good. And while it would help to have the ETU books, you don't need them because it doesn't care about extracurricular activities. It doesn't care about exams. Yes, it does technically assume you need to do rituals to kind of stop these guys, but also if you get rid of the Dispel ritual and only fireworks, spoilers, I'm sorry, you don't even need the rituals. These can work just with the core rules, and it still is good, grounded, creepy adventures that are perfect for Halloween. I love what's in this book. I do not agree with how it's being marketed. I love this book. I love what's in it. But I gotta put an asterisk with my recommendation. It ain't a bestiary. Now, my other big plan was I was going to review Kids on Bikes. I bought it. I was like, yes, this is going to be one of my really big reviews. This is a game I've been meaning to review forever. I lost my voice. I had the flu for a week. I had an upper respiratory infection for another week. I then didn't have a voice and a hacking cough to the point that I tore muscles in my abdomen for another week. I just didn't get around to reading it. Honestly, I was too sick. But I have reviewed this game before. I'll try and throw a card. The new YouTube studio makes it really hard to do all that crap, and I hate it, so I'll try and put a card up top. But I'm going to have to recommend, just like last year, Dark Places and Demogorgons. Alright? If you're willing to pick up an all-new game, or if you have this and aren't running it for Halloween, if you're not doing Savage Worlds, do this. Right here. Why? This is based off BX Edition D&D. Old D&D. Not OD&D, but not Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. This is basic expert Dungeons & Dragons. Completely retooled. There are some flaws in this book. It does things like it assumes you know what unarmed damage is. There's a few holes. I know it's getting revised and re-released soon, but I still love this game. Why? Well, because the first few levels of basic Dungeons & Dragons were super lethal. Anything could kill you. And when you take those mechanics and you place them on teens in the 80s in the horror genre, it actually fits like peanut butter and chocolate. It fits so well, I never even knew I wanted this. Yes, it's campy. It's also not super serious. There is a class called the Metalhead, that you're the guy that loves thrash metal and all that. You get to eventually summon demons if you go up in levels with the Metalhead. It gets nuts. It gets bonkers, but it's still horror and rooted. There's an entire campaign setting you can get for this book, but everything in here comes with a bunch of adventures. Everything you need if you want to expand to a whole campaign. There's books for it. There's also side books dedicated specifically to vampires, to ghosts, to UFOs, to werewolves. I was going to review a bunch of those this month too. And I've read those, but it's like 3 days till Halloween, and I only have so much time. Anyways, those are my picks this year for Halloween. Check out our charity stream on Wednesday, and I'll catch you guys next week. Bye.